Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormy B-Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to Kung Fu Film Focus for this Thursday, March 21st, 2024. And this evening, we are covering a classic Shaw Brothers title from 1966. Yeah, that's right. This one is a little older than some of you may know or even remember, or may not even be familiar with. But it's a classic wuxia film from the legendary studio and a legendary director. This is one of the films that I came to know in the early 80s as I began to expand my little bit of knowledge and interest in martial art films. And it starred a number of familiar faces. So I was able to make the quick adjustment, and I felt better and more enriched as a result of it. A tremendous experience. The film in question is King Hu's Come Drink With Me. This particular film, you guys, is a classic and trend-setting experience. It spawned a sequel, and the sequel, though it starred some of the familiar players from the first film, it was directed by Chang Che, noted director of Shaw Brothers Studios. But what was interesting about the sequel, Golden Swallow, it didn't have the tone that the first film had, and the director, King Hu, had taken a special interest in the players for this film. The director made this as a film that was actually shown at the Cannes Film Festival it had a number of benchmarks as far as wuxia genre. The way that the camera panned across the action, the way that the subtlety of the actors, the players, enacted their roles without dialogue as well as with dialogue. It's what made this film very special. And we'll talk about that this evening. And I hope that you all feel as good as I do and as enriched as I felt after being introduced to the film. As I said, director King Hu helmed up this project, and he is a director that made a major impact on Asian classic cinema. His filmography ranks up there with the best. He directed over 15 films, was the assistant director on one. He produced one film, wrote 13 screenplays. He was an art director on 3 films, an editor on 2. He acted in 30 films. And as I stated, he contributed to the genre mightily. He was born in April of 1931. He passed away in January of 1997. This man contributed so much to the genre, I mean, I can't begin to tell you. But the players in this film, they were to go on to become great actors and actresses as part of the genre that we come to know and love as Kung Fu film genre. We'll start off with Chang Pei Pei, who was the star of the film. Some of you remember her from films with Golden Harvest. Most remember her from her time at Shaw Brothers Studios. In this film, she was the lead. She also had a co-star in this film, veteran Shaw Brothers star Yui Wah, who was like the Cary Grant of Shaw Brothers Studios back in those days. He played in action films, dramas, swordplay films, and even later when the genre of Kung Fu films took off, Yui Wah had a place there as well. Now, some of you could remember his face in certain films, like films that starred Chen Quan Tai, Tai Lung, David Chang. You would see Yui Wah's face in there. But separate from the action films, the Kung Fu films, he was present in a number of Shaw Brothers productions. And even as Shaw Brothers shut down in the early 80s from their filmmaking and went strictly TV broadcasting, he shifted over to that and became noteworthy in television programs as well as movies to continue on his career. Another person who was very prominent in this particular film, particularly in the opening sequence, is Chin Hung Lee. Chin Hung Lee is a character actor who brought a number of villainous roles. He played comedic roles. He played characters that were betrayers and backstabbers. He was a sneaky shyster of a guy, and he was very good at it. Catching this film as a villain, and he was very instrumental here because he played somewhat of a, it was almost like a eunuch, but he wasn't really playing a eunuch in this film. And if you want to know what a eunuch is, I'm not going to totally educate on that this evening, but you can look it up. The word eunuch, that's EUNICH, and that will tell you what you need to know. And they had a particular prominence during the empire of China, the dynasties. And what a history it is when you talk about those particular characters. Yeah. Oh man, the dynasties had all types and sorts out there with them. But allow me to finish rounding out the major players here because they are important. Han Yin Kit, or Han Yin Chi, is another man that is very familiar with his face in wuxia and kung fu films. However, let it be known that he had an opera background, and he was very innovative in martial art films, driving them forward. Some of you may remember Han Yin Kit from Bruce Lee's first box office smash in Hong Kong as a martial artist, The Big Boss, aka Fist of Fury. He played the villain Mai, the guy with the glasses at the end who ran the ice factory and everything and was doing such villainous things and taking out Bruce Lee's family and stuff in that film. Han Yin Kit is noted in Kung Fu film history as a man, like I said, came from an operatic background, but he was very innovative because he brought a modernized choreography to films. He was the proprietor of introducing trampoline stunts in these films. And the trampoline stunts became a favorite. From this film going forward, he alone innovated the genre with new types of action, because when they implemented the trampolines, the actors and actresses would bounce on the trampolines, and according to a camera angle that could capture them, they would give the appearance of flying high in the air, soaring over the camera or at the camera or beyond the camera, also incorporating somersaults and making the action look more dynamic and aesthetic and pleasing to the eye. Han Yin Kit introduced that to the martial art films, both wuxia and kung fu. And prior to that, wire work was used. And sometimes wire work looked very shaky because the actors seemed to like float a little bit and not zoom like the trampoline propelling them. And what would happen also in some of these productions is actors and actresses could get hurt. They would fall because they would be, suspended several feet up in the air. And if the stuntmen that were directing the wire work didn't handle it properly, people would be dropped to the ground, injuring themselves. I remember in the late 70s, early 80s, before he passed away, Alexander Fuchsing suffered a tremendous wire work accident when I think he was filming The Treasure Hunters. He fell from a wire and broke both legs. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine, people? Yeah. But see, that's why Stormy is here to tell you about this stuff, because I give you a little bit of background, a little bit of education, and a lot of knowledge about why these films became so special when introduced to Western audiences. Because the Eastern audiences, they watched them as if we would watch rom-coms or something like that. It was just another one on the fire, huh? But when it came to us and we saw the action and the choreography, we were like, whoa, man, did you see that? That was cold-blooded. And I'm telling you, I was a big fan of the use of the trampoline action. I didn't know that that was what it was when I was introduced to it, but boy, did I enjoy it. How many of you have watched some of the old Kung Fu films and marveled at them leaping high in the air and fighting in the air and coming down and going back up? It's like, he's learned the light technique. And the guys are flying through the air and whatnot, you know? So that's what that was. Yeah. Let me take a moment and acknowledge who I got in the chat with me today. I see you guys filing into the building. A couple people out there been waiting, I'm sure, for another Stormy Kung Fu film focus. I haven't done one in a little bit, but I thought I would come back with a real classic for you. We got No Smoke TV out there. I got your message there. What I was gonna say to you, No Smoke, what you could do is you can make it, how do you say it? Unlisted on your channel and email me the link to the unlisted edit, and then I can watch it that way. That's one way we could do that. Work that out easy. Make it unlisted, post it on your channel, make it unlisted, and email me the link. And once you email me the link, I'll be able to watch the edit. Okay? So that's one way to do that, brother, if you don't mind. Derek Gaines is out there. What's good with you, Derek? Good to see you. Shogun, the Shogun of Harlem, is in the building. Ain't seen you in a minute since I did a Kung Fu film focus, so he's back saying salute to the sensei. That's right. Kiss the Converse. Yeah! We got Universal Truth out there, back with us with those channel emojis. I appreciate that big time. Universal saying salute. The Jab Jamboree, Act Reacher, my brother, is in the building. What's happening with you, man? Salute right back at you. Hey, Act, are you learning something tonight about Come Drink With Me? An awesome experience in the early days of Shaw Studios and Wuxia. Yeah. No Smoke says they protected some royal females without the worry of them doing something sexual to them. PG version. Yeah, with a little bit of neutering, huh? Yeah, I'll say it for you. No Smoke. Derek Gaines says, I love old school Kung Fu films like The Kid with the Golden Arm. There you go. Can't help but to mention the Venoms. When the Venoms wasn't even Enoms. You understand, Derek Gaines? When these films came about, the Venoms were mere brats, huh? But it's okay, brother, because that's why you're here, huh? For Stormy, the sensei, to be able to make sense of it all. So listen to what I got to say. Yeah. Anthony Bolton in the building saying salute. And Mind of Mansa Musa LLC is in the building saying salute to the wise one, the sensei. Right back at you, brother. Right back at you. So, King Who's Come Drink With Me is a film that, again, like I said, was very, very powerful for a wuxia epic. In fact, it was a major inspiration for a film that came many years later. A film which title you all might remember from 2000. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah. That film right there is a classic now. Director Ang Lee made that film, and it was made as a homage to Come Drink With Me. And guess what? They even brought back Chang Pei Pei, where she played a villain in this film, the Jade Fox. Yeah! You see how I tie it all together for you guys? Because when you understand these things, Derek Gaines, you learn that there is a history behind these films that a lot of Western audiences aren't aware of, unless you got into it like myself. And there are others out there. I'm not the only one. Stormy would never try to profess to be. But I'm just sharing what I've learned throughout the years. Yeah. This film is a 1966 production from the Shaw Brothers Studio and directed by King Hu, as I stated earlier, and is set during the Ming Dynasty. It's considered one of the greatest wuxia films of all time, and it was both a critical and commercial success, and launched the career of Chang Pei Pei as a star of the wuxia genre. It was selected as the Hong Kong entry for Best Foreign Language Film at the 39th Academy Awards, but was not nominated. You see what I'm saying about the impact of this film? Very important to know these things. Chang Pei Pei's character was referred to as Golden Swallow in this film. Yui Wa's character was known as the Drunken Cat, Fan Dai Pei. Now, the Drunken Cat was interesting in this film because he was like a mysterious guy that was perceived as drunk all the time, thus the nickname Drunken Cat. But he was like an overseer of things. And as an overseer, he found himself following Chang Pei Pei's character. And he looked to bail her out when she was having difficulties. I enjoyed his character here. When I first saw the film, I thought it was kind of weird the way they portrayed him. But remember, I was much younger when I got introduced to the film, so I've learned so much more about the culture now and understand that sometimes different character types, because they come from a different culture, the way that they play out, sometimes it doesn't make sense to us unless you are familiar with the background of the culture. Yuiwa's drunken cat was actually a sleuth. He was incognito. He was in disguise. And he could fight better than the lead character, Chang Pei Pei's Golden Swallow. Though she was quite adept at her being able to handle the double knives and swords, she was excellent. If you ask me, Bruce Lee, who became friends and acquainted with Chang Pei Pei, he kind of stole from her a little bit from this particular role. The way she cuts her eyes and she goes through her action sequences, there is a great way the choreography is held, because it's not as smooth as the kung fu and swordplay would become later, but it's like a dance. And as they give you the action, they give you a little bit at a time with pauses in the action to allow the audience to keep up with what's going on, and for the actors and actresses to portray their emotions in a physical manner where there's no dialogue. See, that's very important. And that's where I said that Lee stole from her, because when he began to make his films, he utilized that element, because it wasn't there before King Hu's Come Drink With Me, where you take the action and you pause at moments to allow the audience to catch on to what's going on. See, the worst of the Kung Fu films are the ones where they just fight, and they have these extended long battle sequences where it becomes exhausting watching it, as it is, you would think, for the actors performing it. And see, when you don't allow the audience to have a moment of breath to take in the information and process it, it just becomes convoluted. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? And again, King Hu understood that as a director. Derek Gang says, I was playing catch up when I was young. It was Kung Fu theater every weekend. Yeah, man. For some of us, that was the first way that we became acquainted with the genre. But I was fortunate enough that when the Kung Fu movie craze began in 1973, I was taken to the theater quite often by my dad. He would take me on a Friday or Saturday night to either the movie theater or the drive-in theater, where a couple of these joints would be playing. I want to take a moment and say salute to my brother PD out there, who hit me up in the Cash App. He says, salute Stormy, keep pushing. Thank you so much for your Cash App donation, brother. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. See, I don't want to put your real name out there, so I just say initials there. But thank you all the same. I really appreciate that. So yeah. Chan Hung Lee plays the Jade-Faced Tiger. Now the Jade-Faced Tiger was a baddie in this film. And he was looking to have a gang leader released from imprisonment, and where they was transferring members of his gang, he tried to intercept them, capturing one of the guards, and he said that they would trade the guard for their captured leader. Golden Swallow was sent in to investigate the situation. So she was kind of she was like a police, in this film. And under the guise of a meek and mild looking woman, but with deadly martial prowess. These situations saw things play out quite interestingly, and it made for a great action film. There are moments where there's a lot of sequences of the actors and actresses doing their thing, coming in and out, doing different sequences. Champion Heart, I see you out there. Salute to you, bro. But this film, it is been remastered on Blu-ray now. A couple of versions. One that has been made available for the Europe side with a different region, but there is a US region A Blu-ray of this film, and it looks great on Blu-ray. The way they remastered it, the film is just as sharp as it was made yesterday. And if you could just see this image of Chang Pei Pei over me right here, this is a sequence where she first enters in the film, where this is the first shot of her. And that little bridge in the backdrop and a little stream that runs under it is famous from Shaw Studios because it's one of the big outdoor sets that they had built on the studio grounds. And it has made an appearance in many of their films in different ways. It doesn't come across always with the same shot. There were films made where that bridge, there were fights on that bridge, people died on that bridge, people jumped off that bridge in different films. But just knowing how the Shaws handled things, I love, the studio isn't what it once was. I think some remnants of the old studio are still around because they have bought such a sweeping acreage of land to build the studios on. I would have loved to see it in its heyday. All the various movie houses and sets and outdoor sets. There's a pagoda temple that was built there. There's a cross bridge that was built there that made its way in character in a number of films. The various temples and everything where we've seen so many films like the Shaolin temples or the films that starred the Venoms, just numerous. They had great productions, and you could tell that most of the money that the studio made went right back into the production of its films. A Shaw Brothers shot film looks so beautiful that it's like looking at art moving on screen. Number of robes and the costumes that their players would wear in their productions just look different. When you see them walking through an indoor set and how the wood was painted a beautiful shiny color, and the vases that sit on a table or flower arrangements, the art design was amazing at Shaw Brothers Studios. Just totally amazing. But yeah, this shot of Chang Pei Pei, that's from the Blu-ray, and as you can see, it looks awfully good. And the film, just like I said, there were numerous angles that they would shoot the action from. King Hu, I would have loved to see him direct a Bruce Lee film, because he had an aesthetic about how he portrayed. But I'm telling you, I think Lee stole from he and Chang Pei Pei. He had the luxury of working with Han Yen Kit, who was the action choreographer for his first two Hong Kong films of the martial arts genre, Big Boss and Fist of Fury. Big Boss also being known as Fist of Fury in America, and Fist of Fury in Hong Kong is also known in America as The Chinese Connection. And one of these days I'll explain the mix-up in those titles, because it's an interesting thing. But we're sticking with Come Drink With Me tonight. But yeah, I feel like Lee stole from them. And that's not to say something negative. It's just to point out the fact that, you know, when artists are good, they find ways to take from other sources. And that's all this was, you know. But what a damn good lead this film was. Come Drink With Me. Here's a shot of Yui Wa sitting around the table of villains, the bandits, and he's drinking with them, but he's trying to make it like, you know, he's inept, but he totally knows who they are and what they're about, and he begins to help take them down in his own wicked way of pretending to be something that he's truly not at the end of things. I just posted this other image of the movie poster. I believe this is either the German or French poster of Come Drink With Me. A different kind of tone of the artwork there, but still featuring Chang Pei Pei in her striking pose from the film. Geo James is in the building. Champion Heart is in the building. I see you guys. Thank you for stopping in. Don't forget to hit that like button while you're coming in. Yeah. This film is a favorite of mine. I was just watching it the other day because I knew I was going to be talking about it. But I'm telling you, something special. Here's a black and white image, a sharp black and white image of Cheng Hun Lee as the Jade Fox. This guy is, I'm telling you, Cheng Hun Lee played in a number of roles, man. He was the kind of actor, he could play a goofy, he could play a comedian, he could play a serious role, he could play a villain. That's why I referred to him as a character actor, because he was quite popular back in those days. He played a romantic in some of the films. He was all over the place, but he was very well respected, you know, for what he did. Champion Heart says Return of the Dragon is also known as Way of the Dragon. Okay, Champion Heart. Should I give you the microphone? You want to give us a lesson, or you gonna listen to Stormy B Man? Huh? What you doing, man? Sit down, huh? Sit down. Wait, hold on. I got a message for Champion Heart, huh? See, you make Stormy have to pull out, you know, the stops, huh? Y'all know I be ready, right? Y'all know I be ready. But when you come in here, huh? No, you ain't listening, but you're getting ready to. Listen to this.
Whom sent you? A man who would rather spill money and blood, but also a man who would not mind spilling blood if he has no other choice.
Yeah, huh? Champion Heart, you listening? You listening, champion? I got a special message for you, huh? Yeah. Uh-huh. And Champion Heart, since you so expert, listen to this next one.
You are not looking for anybody. You cannot find anybody. You do not have time to work for anybody. You have not heard a thing, nor seen a thing.
Did you hear that, Champion Heart? You see, Stormy be ready for y'all, man. Huh? There's a reason why it's called the Sensei, huh? Shogun says, let the Sensei teach the class. That's right. Yeah, I can picture Champion Heart saying something, and then Shogun is like that guy in The Last Dragon when they was in the theater, and Sho'nuff was up there on the stage talking stuff to Bruce Leroy, and the guy said, why don't you sit down and shut up? And Shogun was like, why don't I what? He was like, why don't you sit down and shut up? And then the dude was like, Shogun was like, why don't you come and make me? He was like, why don't all 200 of y'all come down here and make me? And it started a fight in the theater. You can only be a Kung Fu film fan to realize the humor in that scene right there. Because how many times you was watching a Kung Fu movie in the theater and somebody was making noise, and you tell them, hey man, why don't you shut up? It's like, just like in The Last Dragon, man. It'd be like Bruce Leroy sitting there watching everything, eating your popcorn with chopsticks. Oh my goodness, man. I love this stuff, man. This is so hilarious. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Yui Wa's character, Drunken Cat, he had this group of kids that was following him around in the movie, and they were all like eating and drinking and stuff. The little kids was drinking with him. It was like they was having chicken and drinking wine. It had me cracking up, man. But I'm going to tell y'all something. If you looked closely, you would see some familiar faces amongst these little kids. These same little kids, a few of them would grow up to be Hong Kong stuntmen. There's Mars in there. There's Yuan Biao in there. There's Yuan, I think it's Yuan Hua. And I don't see Samo, because Samo was a little older than them. But there's one more, I can't think of his name. But yeah, these little guys, they were known as the Seven Little Fortunes, even though it's not seven of them. That was the name of their opera troupe, the Seven Little Fortunes. And they performed and did stunts for people in the Hong Kong film industry. Yeah, that's some of them grew up to become prominent stunt actors and major role players in the Kung Fu films. Yeah, so this is what that's all about, man. There's a history here. There's a tremendous history here. But like I said, I shared some of this stuff with you guys because, listen, when I talk about these Kung Fu films, I know some people may find it boring. And no, I can't show footage because when I show footage, they be threatening Stormy with strikes and everything. So in order for Stormy not to lash out with strikes of Kung Fu venomness, then I have to just show you the still photographs, Yeah. But don't think that I don't want to show you the footage. But they be coming at me, man. They be coming at me. So I have to be very, very careful, and defensive, because Stormy like to, he likes to entertain his audience. But this is what they do to us, man. They find every little way to make an excuse not for you to get that change, And I ain't talking about change like metamorphosis. I'm talking about change as in coin, Yeah. Now let me ask you guys, anybody got any questions about Come Drink With Me? Because I know you got a few of you out there, and maybe you do. You may have some questions that you might want to ask. If I'm capable of answering, I would like to do so. So, fire away. Champion Heart, got something you like to ask? I know you like to teach, but I ain't asked for no assistance this evening, but and we got the brother Joseph Townsend fell into the building as well. What's good with you, Joseph Townsend? Let's see here. I want to put this picture back up here of Chang Pei Pei because I just love this image, man. It's like I said, it's the first shot of her in the film, and she looks great in that what they call it, 1080 4K whatever, Yeah. Derek Gaines is asking, Stormy, can you do a reaction to the greatest martial arts movies ever made? The Raid 1 and 2. Derek Gaines, those are not the greatest films ever made. Gratuitous violence, gratuitous, what you want to say, end results of violence, where you see the injuries of people and stuff like that. That gratuitous stuff doesn't make it great, man. It just makes it exploitive, And I'll tell you something, less is more. That's why Bruce Lee was so successful with what he did. Instead of having a 15-minute fight scene, he'd have a 3-minute fight scene incorporating some powerful shots with technique and the reaction to what's transpiring, all the while giving a sense of feeling behind what you're doing and not just moving through the action. His subtlety is something that a number of people still to this day haven't found a way to emulate. But like I said, he learned from the director and the players from this film. He learned from them. Derek Gaines, I'm not saying it wasn't a good movie, but it is nowhere near the greatest of all time is ever made. It is not. It is not. Listen, I have those films in my library. I do. But I think I am at a place to say that they're not. You know, you don't even know about this film. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? This film was mentioned with Academy Award nominated films of its time and era. This was 1966. Where are the awards for The Raid 1 and 2? Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Yeah. Yeah, it was the action that hooked you. The gratuitous violence. That's what they get people with now. That's what, if you look at YouTube shorts, TikToks and stuff like that, that's what they catch you with. Something that, you know, for a second that play with your brain like, and you're like, oh, you know, I came. Huh? Yeah. But nothing of substance where you feel it and be like, man, I was moved. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Now, the brother, Champion Hart, mentioned Way of the Dragon, Return of the Dragon earlier. Now, I'm going to take you to a moment in that film. The end of the fight sequence with Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. When Bruce changed his style of fighting against Chuck and got the upper hand on him, he debilitated Chuck to a degree that Chuck couldn't really fight no more. And Bruce looked at him and was showing mercy. And Chuck was like, damn the mercy, you gotta kill me, bro. So Bruce obliged him, warrior to warrior, and he took him out. Okay? But it didn't end there like in a Jimmy Wong Yu film after he did what he did to Chuck. I'm not gonna say it over the air, but we know how he dusted Chuck off in the film. If it was Jimmy Wong Yu, at that point they would show a long shot of Jimmy Wong Yu walking out of the Coliseum. Da, 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 da. The end. Huh? No. What Bruce did was he went and he grabbed Chuck's jacket, his gi top, and his robe and his belt, and he brought it and he placed it over him and laid his belt across his chest. And then he saluted him for being a great warrior. That was groundbreaking for a martial art film. Nothing like that had ever been done outside of the Wong Fei-hung films. And those films always had Wong Fei-hung teaching a lesson to the villains at the end or whatever. So he always came out on top as a just man, Wong Fei-hung. But what Bruce did in that instance, he showed that you could have violence under an umbrella of reason and then respect for what the warriors did, and then still a respect for having overcome, but it still have something here in your chest. That was something to teach the audiences, and that's where Bruce was going with what he was trying to do on film. But in the Raid 1 and 2, there's none of that. It's just boom, bam, boom, brains over here, eyeball over there, huh? Teeth out of your mouth, all of that stuff. I can only watch those films. I think I've watched it once or twice. I know I've watched it fully once, and it's in my collection. But that's not something I go back to. You know why? Because, like I said, gratuitous violence. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see gratuitous violence. You have an audience out there that used to like to watch those films, Faces of Death, where it showed video captured moments where people lost their lives. I think they had volumes 1 through 5 or 6 or something like that. Man, I rented the videotape once, and I watched a little bit of it. I didn't even finish the full thing. I was like, I can't watch this. These are people actually dying in real life. So why do I want to see gratuitously on the film that someone gets done a certain kind of way and they lose? Nah. Shogun says, I've seen hundreds of thousands of kung fu films, and I'm saying no. Derek says, that was the best fight scene I've ever seen. No, it ain't. You like the Raid 1 and 2. Don't try to switch it up now. It's too late, huh? He says, I'm not going to lie. I was always drawn to the action, starting with Shogun Assassin. Well, the Japanese have a different way of depicting action. But if you notice what I said about like Bruce being quick with his, they were very quick with theirs. They don't have long drawn out action scenes. They're over in just a few seconds. And it's like, that's it. Because if you take that too far too long, it sets up in people. That's why the American public have become so desensitized to violence. That's why you got people out in the street and they'll commit violence with no thought of it, because video games and all of that stuff has made people desensitized. See, there is a certain amount of responsibility that we're supposed to have, and we don't always exercise that. And that's very unfortunate, because, you know, someone should have the disciplines of being able to say no, to say stop, huh? Yeah. Shogun out there, he know what I'm saying is true. Know what I'm saying is true, brother. But yeah, man, we've come to an end of another Kung Fu Film Focus. And I just want you guys to know that I got plenty of these type of shows in me to share with you guys. And just know that there are certain people who have done some great things with their filmographies and everything, but King Hu, who did this film, later followed it up in '67 with Dragon Gate Inn, and then in '71 he came back with A Touch of Zen. '73 he came back with The Fate of Lee Khan. '75 he came back with Valiant Ones. In '79 he had Raining in the Mountain and also Legend of the Mountain. And then he also had The Swordsman, and then Painted Skin was his last directed film. So King Hua produced some great films, you guys. Great films. The first Ip Man film with Donnie Yen was excellent. What a great film. Great film. But yeah, we're going to get ready to get on out of here. I appreciate everybody that came out, the Cash App donations, those who were brave enough to touch the like button. I know sometimes the button, it make you feel like you're getting boo-boo on your finger or something, but you know, it's okay. You can always wash your hands, huh? Yeah, just like you can wash your old nasty keyboards, huh? Yeah, because it ain't my content, huh? It's you. That's right, I said it. But just know, we get out of here, we do our thing, and some of you, there's replay value in this, because I'm gonna tell you like this. This was a film that's a classic, and for those of you who haven't had the pleasure, I'm highly recommending this, like I have highly recommended a few others. But it's gonna put you in a certain place, because films like this, they're just not doing them anymore. They're just not. You know? They're just not. So that's why you have to invest. Look into this stuff. You look into it. So, with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. We will catch you guys on the next one.
You are not looking for anybody. You cannot find anybody. You do not have time to work for anybody. You have not heard a thing, nor seen a thing.